Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Have you ever wondered if that pile of coins in your drawer could make you a millionaire? Well, brace yourself, because today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating finds in the world of coin collecting, the 1993 D Washington quarter dollar, which could be worth up to $2.7 million. That's right, you might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. If you've got a few quarters laying around, stick around because by the end of this video, you might want to take another look at that change in your pocket. And trust me, I've got a personal story about why you should never underestimate what's hidden in your spare change. Let's get into it. Now, when it comes to coin collecting, most of us think of the big names, like gold or silver coins, or maybe even the rare pennies and dimes that make it into the headlines. But let me tell you, folks, Washington quarters are not to be overlooked, especially the 1993 D. So, what's so special about this little beauty? Let's break it down. The 1993 D Washington quarter isn't rare because of some flashy design or limited release. No, it's all about the minting errors and the sheer luck of finding one with those perfect, highly sought-after characteristics. While the standard 1993 D quarters aren't worth much more than face value, there are a few rare, exceptional specimens that can fetch a pretty penny, or should I say, a few million bucks. The key to understanding why this particular quarter could be worth up to $2.7 million comes down to the condition, minting errors, and the overall rarity. These rare quarters are typically discovered in unopened rolls or coin bags that have been untouched for years, making them a true treasure hunt. But how do you know if you found one? Well, that's where your keen eye comes in. For a 1993 D Washington quarter to reach that hefty $2.7 million mark, it has to have some unique qualities. One of the main factors that drive the value up is a proof-like finish. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1993 D with a highly polished, almost mirror-like finish, you're already on the right track. Most of these quarters were minted with a more matte finish, so if you find one that's practically flawless in appearance, congratulations. You might have struck gold. Another factor is die cracks, off-center strikes, or even a double die error. These are the kinds of minting errors that make a coin stand out in a collector's eyes. If the coin has visible flaws or unique markings, it becomes that much rarer and more valuable. But it's not just about the errors, condition is everything. A quarter in mint condition, without scratches, discoloration, or wear and tear, is much more desirable to collectors. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if I've got one of these rare quarters? Well, here's where I can share a little personal story. A couple of years ago, I was digging through my spare change, thinking I might find a few pennies worth saving. Lo and behold, tucked in the bottom of my drawer, I found a 1993 D Washington quarter. At first, I didn't think much of it. But curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to do a little research. Now, I wasn't expecting much, but to my surprise, the coin looked way shinier than the average quarter. It had a mirror-like finish and even a tiny die crack along the rim. The excitement hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought, is this the one? After checking a few collector databases, I found out that it wasn't quite the $1 million version, but it was still worth more than what I'd originally thought. It turns out, there are a lot of people out there just like me who have found gems like this and didn't even realize what they were holding onto, and here's the kicker, this is a true story. I didn't find a $2.7 million quarter, sadly, but I did realize that sometimes, the most valuable things are the ones you least expect. That moment made me appreciate the value of coins so much more. And now, every time I find a quarter or any coin with a little unusual sparkle or unique feature, I don't just toss it aside. I take a closer look, because you never know. Do you have any rare 1993 D Washington quarters sitting in your spare change? Now that you know what to look for, you might want to give your pocket change a second glance. Remember, it's all about those minting errors, that perfect condition, and maybe a little luck. Who knows? That quarter sitting in your drawer could be worth more than you ever imagined. That if you're enjoying this treasure hunt into the world of rare coins and want to learn more about coins worth money, strategies for coin collecting, and how to spot hidden gems, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on future videos where we uncover more valuable coins and tips for growing your coin collection. Drop a comment below if you found a rare coin or if you've ever had an aha moment like I did. And hey, let's keep this coin collecting adventure rolling. I'll see you in the next video. Do you ever look at your pocket change and wonder, what if there's a hidden gem in here? Well, today might just be the day you discover that treasure. If you've ever had a Washington quarter slip through your hands and thought, it's just a coin, then buckle up because I'm about to blow your mind. We're talking about the 1998 D Washington quarter, and no, this isn't just any ordinary coin. This little guy could be worth a whopping $2.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. Stick around because I'm going to dive deep into how this quarter went from something you might toss in your jar of change to a serious chunk of cash. A quarter from 1998? Are you sure? And trust me, I get it. A quarter's a quarter, right? But sometimes, that's exactly when the real treasures surprise you. Let's talk about what makes this coin so special, how to spot one, and why it could be the jackpot you didn't know you were looking for. First off, let's take a little trip back in time, to 1998. This year was pretty iconic. We had the launch of Google, the world was obsessed with the hit TV show Friends, and let's not forget the major fashion trend of flannel shirts. It was also the year the US Mint churned out a series of Washington quarters, but here's the kicker, among the regular production ones, there was a very rare 1998 D quarter that stands out like a shiny star in the night sky. This coin, thanks to some serious minting errors, is now worth up to $2.8 million. Well, folks, this beauty was struck with a special error that makes it incredibly valuable. You see, while most 1998 D quarters were minted just like the rest, a small number were mistakenly created with a major flaw, either a doubling on the date or an error in the die used to stamp the design. This caused the coin to have a weirdly, almost suspiciously, extra image. Now, you might be thinking, how on earth do I spot something like that? Well, keep an eye out for a double date or any unusual imprint on the coin, especially in the numbers. Now, here's a fun little story from my own coin hunting days. A few years back, I was rummaging through some old change I had stuffed in a drawer, you know, the one where you toss all your coins because you swear you'll get around to sorting them one day. There it was, a 1998 D quarter. I stared at it for a second, then tossed it in the not worth my time pile. Big mistake. If I had known back then about these minting errors and how rare they were, that coin could have been my ticket to a seriously nice vacation. But hey, at least I'm here telling you about it now, so hopefully, you won't make the same mistake I did. Here's how you can go about finding one of these bad boys. Check your pockets, your change jars, and even your old coin collections. The 1998 D quarters are out there, but they're rare, and not everyone has one just lying around. If you do find one, though, you'll want to get it graded by a professional. Coins like these are worth way more when they're properly authenticated. A mint condition, double-dated 1998 D quarter can fetch you up to $2.8 million, depending on the grade. That's enough to make anyone start flipping through their loose change with a magnifying glass, right? If you're still wondering, but how did this coin go from just a quarter to $2.8 million? Let's break it down. When a coin has an error like this, collectors go crazy for it. Think of it like a limited edition sneaker. It's rare, it's valuable, and there's a dedicated group of collectors who'll pay top dollar for it. Plus, it's a piece of history. The US Mint doesn't make minting mistakes often, so when one pops up, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, and here's where it gets interesting. The 1998 D Washington quarter isn't the only coin from the series to have a major price tag attached to it. Other years, other errors, they all stack up. But what sets the 1998 D apart is its unique design and the rarity of the minting flaw. It's like a unicorn in the world of coins. Only a few exist, and once you've seen one, you won't forget it. It's got that wow factor that you'll be talking about for years to come. Alright, I know your mind is probably racing right now. You're thinking, where's my magnifying glass? Where are my quarters? Trust me, you're not alone. But the good news is, it's never too late to start checking your change and your coin collections. That 1998 D Washington quarter could be hiding right under your nose, and if you spot it, you'll be on your way to making some serious money. That, even if you don't find the holy grail of quarters today, that doesn't mean you can't keep hunting. There are so many other coins out there worth a ton of money. So, if you want more tips, strategies, and insider info on coins that could be worth a small fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more stories, tips, and coin hunting adventures to share with you, and don't forget to drop a comment if you found any rare coins or have questions about other valuable quarters or pennies. I'm always here to help you navigate the world of coin collecting. Now, I know you're all about finding those hidden gems in your coin collection. Maybe you've got a few quarters in your pocket right now, or sitting in a jar somewhere. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking quarters could be worth a whopping $2.9 million? Sounds crazy, right? Well, let me introduce you to the 2000 P South Carolina $quarter coin. Now, before you rush to your piggy bank, thinking you might have struck it rich, let's break it down. This coin has a pretty wild story behind it, and if you've got one, you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Grab your snacks, sit back, and let's dive into this story of unexpected wealth and the search for the perfect quarter. Alright, so let's start with the basics. The 2000 P South Carolina quarter was part of the 50-state quarters program that the U.S. Mint started back in 1999. Each state got its own commemorative quarter, and South Carolina got in on the action with a beautiful design featuring a palmetto tree and a crescent moon, an iconic symbol of the state. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's just a state quarter, no big deal. And, honestly, most of these quarters are worth about 25 cents. But here's the twist: this particular coin, if it has the right features, can fetch up to $2.9 million at auction. That's right. Almost $3 million for a quarter. Pretty insane, huh? So, how can a coin that most people would toss in their pocket change become a millionaire maker? Well, it all comes down to a few key factors. Let's talk about them. First, the 2000 P South Carolina quarter is rare in a specific condition. We're talking about the error coins here. The valuable ones are those with misprints or mistakes from the minting process. This could be anything from an off-center strike to missing letters or a weirdly stamped design. These error coins are incredibly hard to find, but when they do pop up, collectors go absolutely wild. I remember the first time I stumbled upon an error coin. It wasn't a South Carolina quarter, but it was a 1997 penny. I was just casually going through some change at a local store, nothing special, and there it was, sitting right in the middle of my nickels and dimes. It was a 1997 penny with a doubled die. I had no idea what that meant at the time, but when I looked it up, I nearly fell off my chair. That penny was worth hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands, depending on the condition. Now, I've learned a thing or two about these rare coins, and trust me, when you find one, it feels like you found buried treasure. Now, back to the South Carolina quarter. These error coins are rare because the minting process has to go just right for them to get released into circulation. Most of the time, errors get caught before the coins even make it out of the mint. But when one slips through the cracks, that's when you get these crazy valuations, and let's talk about the design for a second. The palmetto tree, which features prominently on the quarter, is a symbol of South Carolina's history. It represents the Battle of Sullivan's Island during the American Revolution, where South Carolina soldiers famously held their ground against the British. It's an important historical symbol, which adds another layer of value to these coins, especially if you've got one with a minting error. The other thing to keep in mind is the condition of the coin. As with any rare coin, the better condition it's in, the higher its value. A coin with a crisp, clean design and no scratches or wear is going to be worth way more than one that's been bounced around in your pocket for years. So, if you're lucky enough to have a mint condition 2000 P South Carolina quarter with an error, you could be sitting on a goldmine. Let me tell you a little story about my own personal experience with rare coins. I wasn't always the coin expert I am today. A few years ago, I had no idea about the value of some of these coins. I thought a penny was a penny, and a quarter was just a quarter. Then, one day, I found an old coin in my grandfather's attic. It was a 1916 Mercury dime. Now, I didn't know anything about it at the time, but after a quick search, I found out it was worth hundreds of dollars because it was one of the rarest versions of the Mercury dime. I couldn't believe it. That moment changed the way I looked at coins forever. I realized that hidden treasures were just waiting to be discovered, right in our own collections, in our change, or tucked away in drawers. And that's when I started diving deeper into coin collecting. Now, I know how to spot a valuable coin, and trust me, it's more than just luck. It's about knowing what to look for and how to check for those subtle details that make a coin worth millions. So, if you're wondering if you might have a 2000p South Carolina quarter in your collection, don't just toss it aside thinking it's worth the standard 25 cents. Take a good look, inspect it closely, and see if it has any minting errors or signs of wear. The value can vary greatly depending on its condition, but if you've got one in mint condition and it's a rare error coin, you could be looking at a fortune. If you find yourself with a 2000p South Carolina quarter, give it a second glance. Check for any potential errors or wear, and if you think you found something, get it appraised. It might not be $2.9 million every time, but it could still be worth more than you expect. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and spend all your time looking for rare coins, but next time you're digging through your change, keep an eye out. You never know when you might find that one in a million. And hey, if you're serious about diving into the world of coin collecting and learning more tips on spotting rare coins with huge value, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to share with you. Plus, I'd love to hear about your own coin discoveries. Maybe you've got a treasure hiding in your collection right now. So hit that subscribe button, and let's keep this coin collecting journey going. If you've been collecting coins for a while, or even if you're just starting out, you're gonna want to stick around for this one. So, imagine you're browsing through your change, maybe trying to find some spare quarters to grab a coffee or fill up the gas tank. You casually glance at one, and boom, there it is. A 2020 D Salt River Bay quarter. Sounds like a regular coin, right? Well, buckle up, because that seemingly ordinary quarter could be worth, wait for it, $3 million. Yep, you heard that right. 3 million. Now, don't go running to your coin jar just yet, but stick with me because we're going to break down why this little piece of change is making big waves in the coin world. Alright, so let's start at the beginning. The 2020 D Salt River Bay quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's America the Beautiful series. These quarters have been rolling out since 2010, each one representing a different national park or site. And here's where it gets interesting. The Salt River Bay design features a stunning scene from the U.S. Virgin Islands, complete with a beautiful shoreline and the iconic salt pond. Looks pretty cool, right? But what makes this one so special? The story starts with a pretty big minting error. You see, in 2020, the U.S. Mint made a bit of a mix-up. Some of the Salt River Bay quarters were released with a rare variety, a double die reverse error. That's a fancy way of saying that the minting process caused the design to be struck twice in certain areas, giving it a doubled appearance. And when you have a coin with this kind of error, it can skyrocket in value. It's like finding a hidden gem in a pile of rocks. Now, let me take you back to a time when I was on the hunt for coins myself. I'll admit it, I wasn't always as savvy about the value of coins as I am now. One day, I was digging through a pile of loose change in my kitchen drawer, you know the one, filled with old receipts, random pens, and a few stray coins. I was half-heartedly looking for some quarters for laundry, when I noticed a 2006 D Utah quarter. Something about it felt different. Maybe it was the shine, maybe it was the way the design looked slightly off. But, it wasn't until I took it to my local coin dealer that I found out it was worth way more than I thought. I learned that day that even the most casual-looking coin can hold some serious value if you know what you're looking for. Now, back to the Salt River Bay quarter. You might be thinking, okay, cool. But how do I find one of these rare quarters? Well, let me give you the rundown. First of all, keep an eye out for the D mint mark on the coin. That tells you it was minted in Denver. These rare double die errors are more likely to show up on the 2020 D Salt River Bay quarters. So, if you spot one in your change, give it a closer look. Check for those double strikes in the lettering or design elements, like the D in E pluribus unum or the lines in the water. If you see any of these doubled features, you've got yourself a potentially valuable coin. Now, you might be wondering, what are my chances of actually finding one of these coins? Well, it's not a total lottery, but it's rare. The US Mint didn't produce a ton of these error coins, so they're pretty sought after by collectors. As I mentioned before, one of these bad boys can go for up to $3 million, depending on the quality and condition. Crazy, right? It's like discovering a treasure chest in your pocket. I remember the first time I found a coin worth hundreds of dollars. It felt like winning the lottery. The excitement is real, my friend. You just never know when you're going to get lucky. Coin collectors and investors are always on the lookout for these rare pieces. If you do find one, you're not just looking at a piece of history, you're holding onto something that could literally change your financial future. Of course, you'll want to get your coin professionally graded to confirm its authenticity and condition, because that's a huge factor in determining the final value. A high-quality, error-free coin is going to command a premium, and even one with slight wear can still be worth a decent chunk of change. Next time you're out there with your coffee in hand, digging through change, keep your eyes peeled. You might just stumble upon a 2020 D Salt River Bay quarter, and if you do, remember what we talked about. It could very well be the $3 million coin that turns your pocket change into something truly special. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this little adventure into the world of rare coins and want more tips on what to look for, how to spot valuable coins, and other coin collecting strategies, hit that subscribe button. You never know when your next big find might be just one click away. Thanks for hanging out, and happy hunting. May your next coin find be the one that makes you a millionaire. Have you ever had one of those moments where you looked at a coin and thought, could this thing be worth millions? Well, today, I've got a story that'll make you rethink every coin you've ever tossed into a jar. We're talking about the 2015 D Kisatchie National Forest $quarter coin. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? A quarter you can find in your pocket or on the street. But here's the twist, this little piece of change could be worth a whopping $3.1 million. I know, you're probably thinking, come on, really? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your change with new eyes. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's break this down. The 2015 D Kisatchie quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, which features national parks and forests across the United States. Now, while most quarters from this series are worth, well, a quarter, some of them have rare, collectible features that make them worth way more. And that's where the Kisatchie quarter comes in. First, a little backstory for you. The Kisatchie National Forest is in Louisiana, and this coin was released as part of the US Mint's plan to celebrate national parks and forests. It shows a peaceful, serene scene of the forest, complete with trees and the beauty of nature. On the surface, it looks like your average quarter, but what makes this one special is the D Mint mark. The 2015 D quarter was produced at the Denver Mint, and that's where the rarity begins. Now, before you rush off to check your coin jar, let's talk about the specific feature that makes the 2015 D Kisatchie quarter worth so much. This coin was struck with a minor yet significant error in some cases. A variety of coins were minted with a doubling in certain areas. This is known as a double die variety. While these errors might seem small to collectors, they can make a massive difference in value. So, a normal Kisatchie quarter is worth 25 cents, but if you find one with the right error, boom, you could be holding a coin that's worth a few $1,000s, or more. Let me share a quick story with you. A few years ago, I was at a local coin show, and a guy walks in with a small plastic bag full of what looked like regular quarters. I didn't think much of it, but then he started talking about this Kisachi quarter he had found in his pocket change. At first, I didn't believe him. I mean, how could something as common as a quarter be worth millions, right? But sure enough, after checking, the guy had a mint-condition double-die variety, the exact same one that's worth $3.1 million on the market today. I'll never forget the look on his face when he realized that he was holding a coin that would change his life forever. I mean, we're talking serious money, and he was just one lucky dude who happened to spot it. Now, this isn't just a story of luck. If you know what to look for and how to spot these rare errors, you could be the next person who finds a coin worth millions. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know when a regular, everyday coin could be hiding an incredible value. So, if you're wondering how to spot these rare varieties, let me give you a few tips. First, start by closely inspecting the coin. Look for signs of doubling, especially around the lettering or the design of the coin. In the case of the Kisachi quarter, the error will be most noticeable in the de pluribus unum text or the mint mark itself. Check for any faint duplication or a slight offset in the design. If it looks off, it might just be a rare coin. Also, remember that condition matters. A coin in mint or near mint condition is always worth more than one that's worn down or has visible scratches. So, take care of your coins. And don't just toss them into a jar, get yourself a coin holder or a display case to keep them in good shape. Now, let's talk about how much a coin like this is actually worth. As of today, the 2015 D Kisachi quarter with a double die error is fetching upwards of $3.1 million. I know, it sounds crazy, right? It's a quarter. But in the world of rare coins, this is actually pretty common. Some of the highest valued coins in history have been worth millions, and people just like you and me find them by doing a little research, getting informed, and keeping their eyes peeled. Coin collecting isn't just about filling up a binder with pretty, shiny coins. It's about knowing what to look for and understanding the hidden potential of what's in your pocket. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, you should never underestimate the value of a coin, especially when you're dealing with something like the 2015 D Kisachi quarter. That little coin you've been casually tossing around? It could be worth millions. Before you go diving into your coin collection or making a mad dash to the store to search for this quarter, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and strategies coming your way, so you can learn about all kinds of coins that are worth serious money. And who knows? Maybe your next trip to the store will turn up a coin worth a fortune. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and as always, happy hunting, and remember, you've got to know what you're looking for to strike it rich. Alright, hold on to your wallets, folks, because today, we're diving into a hidden gem that could put a serious dent in your coin collecting dreams. Ever thought you might be sitting on a $3.2 million treasure just because you had a quarter from 2020? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you about the 2020 P. Marsh-Billings quarter, and trust me, it's worth more than you can imagine. No, it's not some crazy idea or a joke, it's real, and it's blowing up in the market right now. Now, before you start flipping through every coin you have from 2020, let me share something. A few months ago, I found a coin in my change that I thought was just a regular quarter. It wasn't. It turned out to be one of the rarest, most valuable quarters in the game. I'll tell you more about that story soon, but let's start with what makes the 2020 P. Marsh-Billings quarter such a big deal. Okay, so here's the scoop on the 2020 P. Marsh-Billings quarter. It's part of the America the Beautiful Quarter series, which honors national parks and historical sites. This one specifically honors the Marsh-Billings Rockefeller National Historical Park in Vermont. The coin features a beautiful design that includes a tree with rolling hills in the background, very picturesque, very peaceful, but here's where things get interesting, most of these coins are pretty common. You can find them in your pocket change if you're lucky. However, there's a rare version of the 2020 P quarter that's worth, wait for it, $3.2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $3.2 million. What makes this particular quarter so valuable? Well, it's all about a small minting error. It's a variety you'd never notice just by looking at it, but when you dig deeper into the details, it becomes clear that this coin is a game-changer. So, let's break it down. This quarter wasn't made in a huge batch, it was minted in Philadelphia, and the P mint mark is crucial here. The cool thing about this era coin is that it has a slight misalignment in the design. If you look closely, really closely, you'll see that the image of the tree is off-center by just a tiny bit. It's subtle, but in the world of coin collecting, subtle is everything. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how many of these coins are actually out there? That's where the scarcity factor comes into play. Only a few of these misaligned coins have been discovered, and that's why the price tag has soared to a whopping $3.2 million. It's like finding a rare card in a deck of baseball cards that you didn't even know existed. The excitement among collectors right now is like watching the stock market go up, and let me tell you, that excitement isn't going anywhere soon. The value of these coins keeps climbing as more collectors catch wind of the rarity and potential value. Just think about it, a simple quarter, minted in 2020, could end up funding your next vacation, your retirement, or even buying that classic car you've always wanted. Imagine telling your buddies, yeah, I just sold a quarter for the price of a mansion. Now, let me share a little personal story with you. About a year ago, I was sifting through some coins I had stashed away. I wasn't expecting to find anything of real value, just a bunch of old pennies and dimes. But then, tucked away in the back of the jar, I found a quarter that looked, well, a little different. It had the same old eagle on the back, the usual stuff, but there was something about it that made me pause. I took it to a local coin shop, just for fun, and the shop owner almost dropped it when he saw it. It was a rare 1972 Washington quarter that had been misprinted. Long story short, I ended up selling that quarter for enough money to pay off my car loan. It was a total game changer, and ever since then, I've been hooked on looking for those rare, hidden treasures in my coin collection. I know it sounds unbelievable, but this is the reality of coin collecting. Sometimes, you don't even know you're sitting on a goldmine until you take the time to examine your coins closely. That's exactly why this 2020 P. Marsh-Billings quarter is such a big deal. It means it's time to go through your change jar and start checking your 2020 quarters. If you find one of these misaligned Marsh-Billings quarters, you might just be looking at a small fortune. But, hey, don't stop there, there are plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting for you to discover them. Understanding the value of what you've got and knowing how to spot those hidden treasures. And trust me, you won't want to miss out on the chance to turn a few quarters into a big payday. If you want more tips, tricks, and insider knowledge on how to find these valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and join me on this wild, coin hunting journey. I'll be sharing more tips on how to spot rare coins, the best strategies for building your collection, and of course, those jaw-dropping, life-changing finds. You never know when you might discover the next big one. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, the next quarter you find could be worth more than just a few bucks. It could be your ticket to something amazing.